Hey y'all, welcome back to the Free Black Women's Library YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you for liking this video. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm on my way. Last time I checked, I was at 900. Very exciting to see those numbers come up. I appreciate y'all who have been giving me support in this little baby venture, which is the Free Black Women's Library YouTube channel, especially the Rambly reactions. Today, I'm talking about the TV show Harlem, streaming on Amazon Prime, season 2, episode 7, the second to last episode, the girls' trip episode. The name of it is Back to Rumspringa, which is apparently a real thing. Back to Rumspringa forward. In the beginning, Camille, Dr. Parks, explains to us that within different cultures, within different communities and societies, there's often a trip that people take to find themselves, to grow up, to live some type of lesson. And I am a 100% believer in that, in taking trips. Every single trip I've been on has changed me. I've been to Hanoi, Vietnam. I've been to Costa Rica, Mexico City. Not as many trips as I would like. I would love to say that I've been on a trip every year, but that hasn't been the case. I have a long list of dream trips: Senegal, Morocco, Amsterdam, Iceland. There's so many places I want to see. And pretty much every Caribbean island, St. Lucia, Antigua, Trinidad. I'm obsessed with going to Trinidad for Carnival one day. I've been dreaming of going to Trinidad for Carnival for about 12 years, playing mass with feathers and rhinestones. It's been my dream bucket list, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, let's talk about Back to Rumspringa forward. So the girls are in Puerto Rico and they're all dealing with their own different things. And it is nice to see them interacting, and there's definitely a kinship, more of a kinship between certain characters. There seems to be a specific kinship between Angie and Quinn, which is definitely emphasized and amplified in this episode. And probably because they live together, I'm sure that helps. And also, there's a kinship between Ty and Quinn because they are both queer and also their own bosses. But anywho, let's talk about what each character is going through. So Camille is feeling really guilty about the night that she had with Jameson. You can see that while she's hanging out with the girls, she's obsessing and thinking about how things, the energy between them. And there's this thing where they're trying to get us to believe that something happened between Camille and Jameson because we see them holding hands, we see her stroking his shoulder, we see her looking at him with her pretty Megan Good doe eyes. And when it comes down to it, nothing really happened. She did end up falling asleep in bed next to him, but they were not intimate in a sexual way. What happened between them was definitely intimacy, but nothing deeper than that happened. And we find that out through a conversation that she has with Angie. And Angie tells her, Angie is a very full in her sexuality being. Angie's like, okay, so you didn't really do anything wrong, but it seems like there's something deeper happening here because you this was an easy way for you to sabotage your relationship with Ian. There was no reason for you to lay down in Jameson's bed and sleep there and then get home and lie to Ian about where you were. So this is not cheating necessarily, but it's a sign of an issue. And I agree with Angie 100%. And so does Camille. And also, this thing about Camille self-sabotaging herself comes up repeatedly. And so I think she's starting to see it. Thankful to her friends that are giving her the real. And although the friendships between these women sometimes feel a little bit uneven, I like the fact that they always tell each other the truth and they kind of force each other to confront their behavior. I like that. So Camille figures that out. And then we get this moment where we learn about this ritual that sounds really beautiful called Noche de San Juan, where people go into the water backwards and they at midnight and they walk out of it backwards. And in that process, it's kind of like a baptism, and they're releasing the bad deeds and the sins of the past. So this is how the conversation with Jameson comes up. I love rituals. I love water rituals. Anything dealing with water, absolutely love. I love the beach. I love waves. So I'm really digging this little ritual. And I like that Camille's so excited about it. And she texts the girls. Angie's excited about it. And they all decide to do it together. This was really beautiful. We get a couple of episodes flashing back to moments they've had together. And I felt teary. I was caught up in the moment because I love a friendship, sisterhood moment, chosen family and whatnot. It was cute. And Camille also meets this woman who talks to her about this commune of motherhood, these mothers that share responsibility for each other's children. And Camille says she's going to interview her for this motherhood project she's doing with Jameson. We don't get to see that interview. We don't get to see anything about the commune, but the idea of it sounds lovely. Definitely. The whole it takes a village to raise a child is real. So having to share parenting with other moms, dads, people is something I think most parents would appreciate as long as everybody's views are in alignment. Yeah, that matters a lot. So the last thing we find out from Camille is that she no longer wants to do the motherhood project because it doesn't resonate with her. She wants to do a project on Black joy. Flip the script. Everybody's excited. And that's the end of Camille's story for this episode. And I appreciated that conversation she had with Angie, and the fact that she did overthink, but eventually she shared her story. She didn't just keep it to herself. Now, Ty, I just have to say that the actress that plays Ty is so lovely. Such a beautiful woman. This entire cast is absolutely gorgeous. But Ty really stood out for me this episode. And another thing that stood out for me this episode, the makeup, the looks, really, really top notch. This show serves really beautiful looks in this episode and in the next episode, which I'll talk about. But Ty is trying to recapture the energy of their first trip to Puerto Rico, which was over 10 years ago when they were in their 20s and they were more fearless and wild and the body was different. And they're just like, Ty, please relax. So Ty goes kite surfing, ends up hurting herself. She is trying to make them do jello shots, which they're not interested in. She's looking to see if she can get some cocaine. I'm like, cocaine, Ty? Really? Come on now, girl. Please sit down. So she's trying to relive the past. These people call her ma'am. These boys that she approaches for drugs call her ma'am and call her old, which was kind of mean. But that is something that would happen for sure, unfortunately. But there's a cute moment when Amy, the plant lady, i.e. Rachel True, calls her up because she's stuck at work because the computer that works serves as her register is frozen. And Ty is the only tech person she knows. Okay, girl. You know you were just trying to call Ty up to flirt. We know it was obvious that she liked Ty to me in the Pride episode because she touches her arm when they're talking. Whenever a woman touches your arm for no reason, or your chest or your shoulder, when you're in conversation, it's body language that says, I'm attracted to you. So Amy kind of reminded me of myself, though, because I definitely have been that person who will call someone like, this thing is not working. I've been that person. And you should know about it because this is your specialty. I've been that person. But that call disconnects. And that's pretty much it for Ty. And then Angie gave us a lot of really fun moments this episode and also some exquisitely beautiful, beautiful looks. The term hocation was probably my favorite. And she is sprung on Michael to the point where she is not interested in hooking up with all these fine men that just continue to approach her. She calls it a waste of the D word. I'm trying to get monetized, y'all. I don't know what the rules are, but yeah, let me watch my language. I wrote down that Angie's makeup is exquisite, and once again, the physical comedy, the Pride episode, it was the running. This episode, it was the on the roof with the helicopter. LOL to infinity. I was laughing so hard. She's trying to FaceTime Michael to have a little sexy time. And this Policia is on the roof telling her to get off. Meanwhile, Camille thought she was missing. Camille thought she had been abducted because she was missing for over an hour. I get it, Camille. I get it. I am that worrywart friend. If we're out and I don't see you for over an hour, I will think that you've been stolen and freak out. Like, stop the DJ, make an announcement, FYI, in case we ever hang out. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for Angie. One of the things I thought was significant was Angie telling Camille, don't tell anyone about spending the night with Jameson. Never mention that to anyone. And I thought that was good advice, interesting advice, and good advice. She says something about how we share our stories. Sometimes sharing our stories, oversharing can sabotage our lives. Kind of that, I'm not quoting it directly, but it was a really good point that struck me in a way. I'm guilty of oversharing in the past, and that's probably the reason why. But I'm learning Angie is correct. Sometimes when we overshare, it's a form of self-sabotage. There's no reason for anyone to know that you spent the night with Jameson, especially because nothing happened. Moving on to Quinn. So it turns out that Quinn got a prescription for depression. The doctor gave it to her as an option, not necessarily take these, but in case you want to. And I've been there. But shout out to Quinn's closet. I'm just looking at my notes. If I look down, that's what I'm doing. Quinn's closet. Oof. Anywho, she's not taking her the meds. She doesn't want them to change her. She's afraid that they're going to do something to her naturally bubbly persona that she often has. She doesn't want it to dull her senses, et cetera, et cetera. Common ideas about medication. It makes sense. And she's excited to have this eat, pray, love moment in Puerto Rico with her girls. They get to Puerto Rico and she bumps into this dude named Keith. And apparently they dated in the past and she broke up with him. And Keith is excited to see Quinn again because he's single, she's single. They go on a date, and the same energy that was there between them is still there. And they kiss, and so on and so forth. Um, and Grace Byers, who plays Quinn, was on the show Empire with this same actor that's playing Keith. So I thought that was a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge, because they weren't a couple on Empire, I believe. But either way, that was kind of cute that they brought them back together, and it was like, great to see you. Haven't seen you in so long. Quinn and them fall back into things. And then we have this really sweet moment because Angie called Quinn's mom to tell her, we're going to be in Puerto Rico for the weekend. Things are going on with Quinn that you should know about. She's been depressed. She's seen a psychiatrist, a therapist. She's been prescribed with medication for depression. She's not taking it. We don't see this, but it's implied. And Quinn and her mom talk, and it turns out that Quinn's dad also suffers from depression, struggles, lives with depression, and takes medication. His mother, i.e., Quinn's grandmother, also was diagnosed with depression, was in and out of hospitals. So this thing that's going on with Quinn is actually genetic. Now, remember I said that? I was right. It's actually genetic, and her mother advises her to try the medication because it's really worked for her dad. It's really helped him get stable, stabilize his mood. How come Quinn never knew that her dad lived with depression? He hid it from her. He hid it from the kids. Only the wife knew. This whole thing about hiding mental illness within the Black community is it's a very significant topic. Once again, as I've mentioned in the past, I like how this show kind of drops these little nuggets and doesn't overemphasize the point. They don't beat it into you. It's just a little, a little seasoning, a little garlic, a little paprika sprinkled on top of all the prettiness, all the beauty, all the laughs. Well, let me not overshare. I appreciated this, and this Quinn gets comforted by her mom, and I like the way Jasmine Guy expresses certain things through this character. She talks about, because Quinn is like, thank you, and that was so sweet. And Quinn's mom is like, it's not sweet, and you don't have to thank me. I'm your mother. This is my job. This is my responsibility to make sure you are okay. And I felt her on that. This is part of why I'm here. Like, I am the reason you exist. So yeah, feeling you. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. We get some cute photos. We get that cute moment where they all walk into the water together. We don't see anybody, yada, yada, but it's implied. And that's the end of the episode. That's the end of Back to Rumspringa Forward. It was a really beautiful episode. And I am loving all four of these storylines right now, most especially Quinn's, as always, because she's the one I find most relatable. How about y'all? Don't forget to thumbs up this video, and thank you for watching. Bye.